First of all, a massive, massive thank you for everyone that commented and DM'd me after last week's video. I got a lot of good feedback, and a lot of people tell me what I could improve, what they liked. That is a massive help now that I'm making these myself and consistently. So thank you for watching. Thank you for getting back to me. I really want that. I want that candid feedback as I do for this video. So a little bit different today. You'll notice I got a second camera, and we'll see how that goes with me shooting videos, whether it flows really well or if it just looks shoddy. I'll take it out next week. Let me know. This week's video, as you saw earlier on my Instagram, is about off-season, right? And what your expectations and goals should be of doing an off-season. Why do an off-season? Well, up to a certain point, you can just do comp block after comp block, right? Or comp cycle after comp cycle. Beginners, they can get away with a lot. They can get away with not building that foundation. Not that it's advised at all. We're really big on that at Apex Strength is, building a good base. But when you're new, you'll respond to anything and you will progress just by sitting next to weights, right? Just via osmosis, it's going to come in and you're going to get stronger. And off season, your main goal should be to get more jacked, fill out your weight class, and maybe lean out a little bit depending where you are in your training. They're three big body composition goals. Other than that, it's to allow yourself to have a better capacity for the big three further down the track. So while it won't directly add kilos to your squat, bench, or deadlift, indirectly it does. All things considered, a bigger muscle has more potential to be a stronger muscle, and it really gives you a chance to hammer out the motor pattern and make a more efficient movement. Why off seasons? Why are we so big on it? Well, have a look at this. This was 2016 IPF Worlds. I'd done nothing up until this point except training cycles for competition. I'd never had an off season, never deloaded, never took time off. And as you could see, I tore my quad. Wasn't a fun experience, but I learned a lot. And that really woke me up to what I was doing wrong with my training, ignoring the big foundational work, right? I think 5 months later, I came back and did a massive squat PB, but that's neither here nor there. It really smartened me up for my training. I don't have massive holes like that anymore. While I'm still working on form, I really take the time to fix those things. And I do program and do myself a lot of off-season training when I'm not near competition. You shouldn't be competing 5, 6, 7 times a year. Twice is good enough. The rest of that should be foundational work, i.e. off-season. I'm saying off-season a lot. When you say something a lot and the word just sounds weird? Now with your off-season work, you shouldn't be going to the gym. You're not doing reverse band squats and max reverse band deadlifts. This isn't West Side. We're not training conjugate. It doesn't really work for raw lifters, specifically drug-free lifters. If you want to argue with me on that, you can. I'm happy to hear you out, but I would never program like that. Off-season is a time to do things like close variations of your competition movement. So if you do low bar squats, do high bar. If you do high bar, do safety bar. You could do safety bar as a low bar as well. Just an example. Lots of medium grip bench, deficit deads, pause deads, things like that. All right, things that are going to make the lift stronger. But a lot of the time what happens is the frequency of those big lifts drop down. So you might go from squatting 2 to 3 days a week to squatting once, and then on the other days doing completely different movements to help target areas you need work. So if you have massively underdeveloped quads or posterior chain, things like your back or your shoulders, this is the time to really bring those areas up so they can benefit your big three later down the track. Now, it doesn't mean your training is going to be easy. You should be doing a lot of hypertrophy work, a lot of high volume work and things that are actually hard for you. So for me, I'm front squatting once a week at the moment, and I have a terrible front squat. I back squat, in competition I've done 335 and 326 at this body weight, and my front squat's 180 or 170, which is terrible. So I know I need to bring that up. It's going to benefit my back squat. So you focus on things like that, and they will benefit you greatly down the line. Now, something that always gets lifters, especially people that are a little bit more inexperienced and newer, which I assume a lot of the people that watch this are, something that really shocks them is they go, hey, am I going to PB my squat at the end of this training cycle? No chance. Well, more than likely no chance unless you are really new. The reason being is in powerlifting, you're trying to develop efficient motor patterns all the time. That's what you see. That's when you see lifters who stay in the same weight class for a long time, and they're still getting PBs. Their physique hasn't really changed much. They're past the point of building muscle really easily. At that point, they're just developing more efficient motor pattern. Now, during your off season, this will drop off. It will detrain a little bit. That's not a bad thing though, right? I know I can hear it already. But if my squat goes down, how am I going to get stronger? Again, your goal for your off season is to give yourself a bigger base so you can get stronger in the future, specifically when you are earlier on in your training career. So no, you won't come off an off-season block or cycle and PB your lifts, most likely. But what will happen is 2, 3, 4 weeks back into your comp block, you're 12 weeks out, everything will click, you grease the groove, and all your low bar squats, all your pause benches, all your deadlifts are moving easy again. Your goal shouldn't be to add kilos directly to the big three. It should be to give yourself a bigger capacity to lift more in the future. Lastly, your goal for an off-season should be to have a bit of fun. Now, we all love powerlifting. We all live that lifestyle. We're all hardcore and we're going to war. But it is a boring sport for the most part, right? When you go in there, you squat 3 days a week, bench 3 or 4 days a week, deadlift once or twice, and you're doing the same thing week in, week out, it can get a bit monotonous. And off-season is your chance to go in there, kill it in the gym, train like the bodybuilders that we all know got you into powerlifting, because most people don't start off by watching powerlifting, it's bodybuilding, and have a good time. It's also a massive mental break. Really important when you're doing long, hard training cycles. You get in, you get out, you're in there for an hour and a half, and you've had a great time. You've got a sick pump, and you're feeling good, your body composition's training. That is a massively important aspect. It is as much as a mental break as a physical break, and a chance to develop on weaknesses you have. So, hope you enjoyed this. It's pretty chill. I want to get better at these. I want to do more of them. I'm still learning, like I said, so let me know what I need to fix. Tell me what you thought. If you hated it, let me know. Slide in my DMs. I get that a lot, especially with my squats because they're trash.